Hey man, say man, this is Diz and Ed
It's Ed and Dead
podcast from around the way.
all damn day. Don't play.
Yeah, we have it. Hey, today we're touching on several topics, and this is the draft, the pre-draft edition. 1.0, and we are touching on the NBA draft. We are going over the back and forth squabble quarrel between Kwame Brown and Shannon Sharp. Um,
Big damn.
we going over LeBron topic, man. Is he controlling the narrative, or is it us that's doing it? Like at this point, is it on autopilot? So those are the topics we are going over today, and we got a special surprise for y'all at the end. So check that out as well. So we're gonna jump right into it. Shannon Sharp versus Kwame Brown, man. What's your thoughts on it?
Uh, I mean, it's funny because in this situation, I don't have a dog in the race. Even though late, I kind of respect Kwame more than I've learned. I've come to respect Shannon as of late, just um, as overall, figures. But I will say this though, uh, Shannon ride, just seeing both perspectives. Shannon ride with LeBron no matter what. I don't know what's going on, man, but that man made it his mind that he gonna ride with LeBron, rain, sleet, hell, or snow, man. So at least you gotta admire it. You gotta admire somebody being consistent. I don't care how what side of the fence you're on with it. Consistency should always, receive admiration. So I will say this though, as far as Kwame, man, Kwame right on this one overall because first of all, that's his opinion. Who are you to police these folks' opinion and tell somebody they can't say what they say, especially about another man? That's another man. So that's supposed to be something if that man feel that personal about it, he's supposed to be able to approach him on it on his own or whatever. And LeBron ain't gonna do that. LeBron ain't gonna even respond. That's just LeBron. He gonna always take the high road, and we appreciate him for that. But it's funny, the irony of this is Shannon talks about Kwame as if he ain't qualified, but if anybody qualified to speak in the conversation, it is Kwame. So I'll say this. Kwame spoke his opinion, and Shannon Sharp decided to jump in and take Kwame for speaking on LeBron and what he felt like was disrespectful matter or negative matter. It was basketball, it wasn't necessarily personal. As far as LeBron controlling the narrative, I don't know if we answering it.
No, not yet. We won't say that.
Okay, but as far as Kwame concerned, keep it short and simple, man. Shit, how you gonna tell another man what he can and can't speak on in terms of sharing his take and his opinion? At the end of the day, that's what we all doing. So, I feel like I'm gonna be honest with you though, Shannon. What I feel like it was deep down, and I'm hoping we can clip all that out. We can delete all that Jill because I kind of just glad. Shannon throwing Kwame a loop. This is an op for both of them. Shannon got somebody he can pick in that ain't in the circles. He ain't got to worry about no bad relationships being along. Who was Kwame really connected to ultimately in that regard in terms of the circles that they deal with. But at the same time, it benefits Kwame. Because if Kwame got the right mindset in terms of how to approach this, he gonna do what he gonna do in terms of his response. You know what I'm saying?
Well, as he's done before.
Exactly. So I see it ultimately like that. Because I'm always thinking, at the end of the day, it's a business. And they need something to talk about. And who else to get spicy viral and not have to worry about burning no relationships, Jalen Rose and Skip. You know what I'm saying?
Type of situation.
You know what I'm saying?
Contractually under the same company.
Right. Burn somebody else up that's still in the brand or on the team or even on somebody else's team that you might have blowback with. So he was the perfect person to throw that oop to. And if you own the business like you're supposed to be in this business, you will respond accordingly. And I think so far, Kwame responded accordingly. It ain't gotten too personal. He ain't going after nobody's family, nothing like that. You know, it's just a bunch of jokes and jabs. You know what I'm saying? Some of them jabs gonna hit you in the lip, but it ain't nothing dirty. Ain't nobody hit below the belt. So I love that. And right now, in terms of who winning on the jokes and the talking, the shit talking and spit swallowing, we definitely know Kwame right there. Kwame talking cash money shit right there. So, and I want to say this about the in terms of Kwame. I don't know if we gonna clip this off or what, but I feel like Kwame is a game changer in terms of him calling Kwame a bust. Kwame definitely did not live up to the number one pick expectations. That is clearly clear. Why? There are many reasons, right? And it's not all on Kwame. So that's one thing. But at the same time, Kwame was the first high schooler to get drafted number one. All right. In a time where the only other high schooler to even come out and get drafted was Kevin Garnett. And he didn't even go number one.
Kobe went third.
And Kobe.
It was a few. It was T-Mac. It was a couple kids that got drafted.
Yeah, and T-Mac. But it was very. I forget about those two. Absolutely, I'm glad you mentioned them. It was a very, very few in terms. It was frowned upon still to come out, and let alone for somebody to take a high schooler number one. That's the main thing. And that was the first time that ever happened before. And Kwame, at the end of the day, after Kwame came out, they opened the door for several other high schools to where they ended up changing the rules a few years later because so many, he opened the floodgates for when he went number one. He set the ceiling higher. The highest ceiling that a number one had ever went was Kevin Garnett, right?
Well, he went
a high schooler. Yeah. So that was the highest a high schooler had ever been to that point. So he set the ceiling higher in terms of what a number one, a high school player can really be coming right out of high school in the draft. So he changed the game with it, to be honest with you, because ultimately it was him that made them change the rules. So his impact and contribution to the sport is more impactful than Shannon Sharp's is as a Hall of Famer. And 3-time, not 1 time, not 2 time, but 3-time Super Bowl winner. And he was the starting tight end, Pro Bowl tight end. He wasn't nobody, ring chasing. He was legit.
Yeah, he was a star receiver.
Yeah, on all these teams. He was still 60, probably 67 receptions a year. The tight end at that time, that was crazy. So,
interesting tape.
With all of that on Shannon's resume, Kwame still changed the game and was more impactful in terms of what his career ramifications meant to the sport in terms of what yours did. And I say this, Kwame made more money as a bust. 12 years, $63 million.
14 years in the NBA.
14 years. That's even better. He lasted even longer. Probably lasted longer than Shannon did. I'm somewhere around there. If not, Shannon didn't play 20. Nobody play that long.
Nobody playing long.
Right. But still, nevertheless, he lasted 14 years.
I mean, he was. Okay, my take on it. Kwame Brown was definitely an NBA player, right?
Right.
The scouts, especially, first of all, he had something working against him from the beginning. He got drafted by Michael Jordan.
Right. The worst.
Jordan is probably one of the worst front office people to ever be in the NBA. Like, his draft history was abysmal. Like, him taking Adam Morrison over Rudy Gay, just crazy.
I don't think it's that. I think Jordan's, and I do not like Jordan, to be honest with you. I do not really care for Jordan. I like Jordan, but I really don't care for Jordan. I'm gonna be honest with you. I respect him for what he is, but I think that him being the worst GM ever, the worst owner ever. I think that's
I don't think he's the worst ever because Donald Sterling still exists.
Right.
You
Joe
know,
Tsai
with
still
Elgin
exists.
Baylor. But
Right.
my thing is this. He's not the worst ever, but he's definitely in a lower tier. Right. He's right there. Because Michael Kidd Gilchrist, everybody knew he shot like he was spinning pizza in New York. Like we saw it. So we know this dude ain't got a good track record and he puts pressure on people. Those are two negatives. You can't spin that into a positive. Like that guy's he just wasn't the guy that should have even been taking somebody number one. What Kwame Brown was to me coming out of high school was he was the most physically ready out of that first batch. Like Kobe was still thin, still kind of frail or whatever. That's part of the reason probably why New Jersey made Cal take Kerry Kittles over him. We all know that Kevin Garnett was super skinny. Right. Kwame Brown came out looking like a full-grown bulldog.
Right, 6'11", every bit of 240.
Oh, he was probably bigger than 240.
Right,
he was a big guy.
Right, probably 250 because he was solid.
You know, I laugh at it because they both Southerners. So I love to see two guys from the South with the accents going at it.
Right.
For me, that's
and throwing out that lingo that you don't hear on TV.
You know,
tongue, what you call it, thick tongue.
Yeah, thick tongue. Like, Kwame Brown hilarious to me because he called the man John Morant. Like he kept calling him John Morant. Like Kwame just seemed like he just having fun with it. Yeah. You know, I think over the last couple of years since Shannon jumped into the bigger part of popular culture, I think his impact now in the culture, like American culture period, I think that has superseded anything that Kwame Brown did. Because what Kwame Brown really did was just set a precedent to make people take a year in college. He was the beginning of that. To me, what Shannon Sharpe has done is he basically was an adequate replacement for Stephen A. Smith. That's basically what he did. He looped in and he was able to replace Stephen A. in a way that ESPN has not been able to replace Skip. Because Stephen A. keep running through co-hosts. They can't find another guy. Max was, JJ Redick, everybody that they put back in front of Stephen A., including the dude that's like a reject from
I think JJ might have some footing though.
I think they're gonna get JJ Redick the hell away from Stephen A. Smith.
Why you say
have you heard them talk?
Right, yeah.
Stephen A. Smith gotta be quiet a lot.
Yeah, he gotta keep cooking them.
If Stephen A. gotta be quiet, that defeat the purpose.
The star.
Yeah, you know what's the 48 law of power?
The first law.
Don't outshine the master. So yeah, he killed him. But like the dude Mad Dog, who I think is a reject from Grease Lightning. He really is a reject from a Grease Lightning movie. I swear to God, I hate to hear dude's voice. I put the TV on mute. I don't even turn it. I just want to see his antics physically because it's hilarious. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I think Shannon has had a bigger impact in that way, in that he's been able to transform himself from a pro athlete into a public figure. He's now an official public figure. This guy, he's shooting shots at what's her name? Nia Long. Like he doing all
Cole Murphy.
Yeah, he doing all kind of stuff, man. He got the little poodle or whatever kind of little dog that is walking
through the out with Hollywood. Stylist,
so I think from that standpoint,
Kerry Rose boy.
Yeah, I think from that standpoint, Shannon Sharpe has really he has exceeded. You know what I'm saying? He is, because you as a pro athlete, the number one thing you want to do is transition from your pro career. Right. Everybody wants to do that.
Right. And he's, as much as he accomplished, like Shannon, it's crazy. Like, it made me feel old to know I watched Shannon Sharpe as a young teenager and hear the teenagers today say, you ain't never did nothing, you really just a vlogger or whatever. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's like, man, I remember this man was a for show position. If you threw the ball his way, no matter what route he ran, he was one of the only ones that was willing to go across the middle 10 times a game. It was crazy. So I respect that, don't forget that Shannon was a folio. Yeah, he was a folio.
All right, we got LeBron, the narrative of LeBron and who pushing it now. Is it on autopilot with us, or is he actively pushing it? Me personally, I think it's the people that won't stop saying his name.
Yeah, it's like the people, bro. We need LeBron content. So we need him to speak, and then when he do speak, kind of honestly, he simply just said, "Man, I don't know. How you think he gonna feel at 20 years and losing in the Western Conference Finals because everybody else didn't show up. You had a 40-point triple-double basically, and then you lose 4-0-0-4. You get swept. So how else would you feel? Like if you be realistic, one thing about I like to try to put yourself in that person's shoes. Think like that person for a second. How would you feel after you done got swept at 38 years old? You 38, you playing on an injury you weren't supposed to play on, so we don't know what type of permanent damage that's gonna do, even with the surgery you're gonna have to get. The boy went to 3 doctors, the man went to 3 doctors. LeBron definitely deserves that correction. The man went to 3 doctors, and the first 2 of them, he took the third one to clear him.
True.
So he already dealing with a lot in his mind. Man, how much more do I have to sacrifice and give to make this thing get over the hump? So yeah, what would you say? Let's be real. What would you say? Think if you was LeBron and you gotta sit in front of the camera, because the last thing you want to do is be Dylan Brooks, right? So you don't want to not say nothing. So you want somebody to be, and y'all do want them to give an honest answer. So what else would you say?
For me personally, I don't think it's ever really been him in the sense of basketball talk. Like he's always let it be known that he was more concerned about stuff outside of basketball. So from that standpoint, I think people coming at him, those are the people that's to shut up and dribble people for the most part. People that only want to pigeonhole them and keep them to one way because that's what they used to with their stars. That's what they prefer. AKA he spoke out against certain social injustices, things of that nature. That's what they really want to shut up about. But
it's some of these regulars too. It's some of these folks that
but
some of our people, I ain't gonna lie, some real cats that be tripping about the whole LeBron.
But this is the catch to it though. This is the catch to it. A lot of them people grew up in their most influential years. They were years spent observing the media in a standpoint they couldn't interject, right? Mm-hmm. So when Jordan was hot, right, it's games he played horrible in the playoffs, but Pippen stepped up, right? Mm-hmm. But people never remember those things. They remember the flu game. Right. They remember the old shot over Craig Lee. It's not that they have selective amnesia. It's that you didn't see every single thing that he did on repeat. ESPN, TNT, all these people were able to selectively give you whatever clips. And because they had access to the billions, they got to decide what you saw to remind you of him. Right. Now absolutely. You can download you can download LeBron missing a shot on Twitter and have that in your phone forever and save it to a memory card. And to me, that's the difference. It's like he's gonna get picked apart and get that scrutiny because he's in the social media era. And social media has already proven the internet period in the palm of your hand has already been scientifically proven to keep you up longer, affect your emotions. Facebook got sued because they were proven to do you in. Like they were playing with people's emotion down their timeline, posting nothing but negative stuff a couple years ago. And they got sued for that, Meta. So those things affect the game now on how people talk about LeBron and how he covered. Like that's just a part of the game. So I think it's on autopilot that name is going to drive an algorithm. It's just that simple to me. It's not even about him or what he says. It's the fact that if that's who the NBA has chosen to push, which they did, so that was a smart move. Like we can all see that coming out of high school film. That algorithm is going to push them too. And if the NBA got the algorithm for them, you better believe Twitter got it, Meta got it. Everybody that's doing anything is going to push LeBron James to the forefront domestically in sports in the United States of America more than any other athlete. So for me,
honestly, he's definitely far beyond our biggest athlete. Not only does the NBA not have anybody else really right now, the NFL though. Not that they actually.
I mean,
since Brady left,
what they doing is I don't even think Brady was there. But I think with Mahomes, what they doing, okay, he got the, what is that, State Farm, whatever that insurance company is, he got the State stuff Farm. With. I don't know. I think he's an Adidas athlete, so he's not a Nike athlete. I know he's not a Nike athlete, so I don't think that helps him much. In the United States, being a Nike athlete is what gets you over the top. Like,
Right,
let's just be realistic. You know, you got the soccer kids like Lionel Messi. That's a different ball game of football. My bad for the people overseas listening, football, or however y'all pronounce it, right? Like, that's the biggest athlete in the world right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's that guy, Argentina. But domestically here in the States, you need Nike to be the number one guy. Let's be realistic. That's just the truth. So the NFL, they ain't gonna be able to push nobody like that because they don't got a big enough Nike athlete. And in the NFL, the biggest player you can have would have to be a quarterback because of how the game's set up now and how the rules are.
Right, and how it's marketed.
Well, yeah, but you got to remember something.
And it's designed for the quarterback to be the hero.
Yeah, in the 90s, it wasn't like that.
Right,
you had several other players
and the receivers.
Well, you had
defensive players too.
Yeah, anybody could do it in the 90s when the rules are different. Now that it's all catered to quarterbacks, it has to be a quarterback. So which one of these quarterbacks is dynamic enough? Dak? No. Any of them? No. Now Lamar Jackson got the exciting game, but does he have the Dion type of savoir-faire? Does he have that type of flair that's gonna get him over the edge? Absolutely not. When you hear Lamar Jackson talk, it's nothing about him that screams The Rock, Dion, Primetime Sanders.
Man, he just talk his whole presentation. You know, he dingy. He'll get, your project back. You know what I'm saying? He'll dingy project back.
There you have it, man.
That's to, make the most of his life.
It's Trick Daddy songs playing in the background when he stepped to the podium. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it goes. Like, and I'm saying that to say with LeBron, it doesn't matter at this point. Who got the narrative or who controlled it. At this point, he's a prime example of any type of publicity will make you money. And it's going to make it for him and it's going to generate it for the league. And I think that's why they're scrambling so hard to find that next domestic face of the league. We're going to talk about that on another episode. But now is the time we slide into.
I was going to ask you, what made you take the hat off, bro? You had the Memphis City champion.
The head? I don't know, man. I wanted folks to see my face.
Okay, cool. I'm
gonna show the head
because I'm constantly looking at the head like.
When we do the gear, I'm gonna show them the head. Man.
Okay,
they gotta see the face right now.
So that was the first thing I noticed when he walked in.
So we're gonna go into the draft right here. We each going over 3 prospects back and forth. Let me let you kick it off.
Okay, yeah. So first prospect I want to talk about is Derek Lively, out of Duke, of course. 7'1", 230 pounds, 19 and a half, something right now. So probably around 20 around the time the season start. Averaged about 5 points, 5.2 points or something like that. 5 rebounds, played about 20 minutes a game. Also averaged about 2.5 blocks though. So he was one of the best shot blockers in the nation. Definitely a really, in terms of being a rim protector and a rim runner, definitely something. Because this, I'm gonna keep it honest with y'all, man. I'm keeping it 100, stack whatever. But this draft is all-time low bad in terms of center prospects. Now, part of that may be because it's just the evolution of the NBA going away from the center position, the traditional center. So maybe they had something to do with it. Don't nobody want to play center no more. They don't know. Nobody want their label on their head. But at the same time, the prospects for it is just terrible. You don't even have guys that got size. There are maybe like 3 or 4 7-footers that's in the top 200 prospects. So that's the first thing. So you really don't have a lot of options. So that makes Derek Lively, outside of Wembanyama, the best center prospect in the draft. So the draft don't really start until number 3, number 4, really, because we know who the first 3 prospects gonna be. So the draft starts at 4 this year. So he's the best prospect from 4 all the way down in terms of a center. And some people question, is he really even a center? Because he still has a lot of strength to add. He's a slim, rim protector, real runner. Run up and down a court in transition and get you a, fast break dunk. If you got him running the break. But the weaknesses with Derek Lively is he doesn't box out as well because he doesn't have the strength, right? He ain't got the lower strength, and he definitely don't have, the upper strength yet either. So he's not gonna box you out well. So the rebound activity, the rebounding rate ain't necessarily there yet. But he does have potential with the rebounding because he is active around the rim. He's just got to get stronger. And that's cool at 19. We don't expect you to be fully developed at that. Rebounding is something you can get better at, especially with his type of style. I think he'll become a very good rebounder, to be honest, which I had to bet on. So Lively is the first prospect and he's actually a guy I think the Grizzlies have actually brought in for a workout. Recently, he shot like 14 or 18 from 3 in a workout a few days ago. So his prospect, his buzz is rising. I was originally putting him on the target list for the Grizzlies at 25, but to keep it 100 with y'all, just being realistic, based on what we've seen, if he's starting to show 3-point potential, which he showed in college, he shot 60% from the free throw line. So he wasn't the worst free throw shooter, and he still shot like 30% or something from 3 when he did try to shoot it. So there is some type of promise there. He does have some type of touch. He's just going to have to develop that shot. So if that's the case, and in a weak draft, and there are a lot of teams looking for rim protectors, I don't think he's gonna be there nowhere near 25. So really, it's almost a moot point of us having this one, even in the discussion. But I had already said I want to talk about it because the Grizzlies did bring him in, if I'm not mistaken, for a workout. But since the Grizzlies brought him in, he's risen his stock even more. So that's a whole different thing. We going straight through them? Or?
Yeah, you go straight through them.
I want that.
No, okay, I get it. Prospect I looked at, Bilal Koulibaly from France, plays on the same team currently, Metropolitan 92, as Victor Wembanyama. So what I noticed was if he can play with Victor and he can park his ego, then he can come into a place like Memphis or another team that's already got that young core, and you can plug him right in. Because he's not expecting to come in and be a star. He's gonna come in and play that role of a prospect. He's a young guy, but he's about 6. I've seen people have listed anywhere from 6'6" to 6'8". But one thing for sure, he does have a 7'2" wingspan. The guy really looked like a pterodactyl out there when he spread his arms. Definitely a guy with a high IQ on both ends of the court, and I'm big on high IQ guys. I preach that a lot. To be so young, he's a high IQ player. Shot like 35% from 3 international line, so it's a little bit closer than the NBA 3. But he'll adjust.
Average like 2 steals, 2 assists, 4 or 5 rebounds, 11 points.
He's a pretty good all-around player.
Right.
He's a pretty good all-around player. Good prospect.
2 blocks too, I think. 2 blocks, 2 steals, 2 assists, and the 4 rebounds, 11 points. So. Yeah,
and going forward, like he's somebody that mentality-wise, I think he can fit in with pretty much anybody. He's a plug-and-play guy. That's what you want. Like even if you're dealing with electronics, you want something that's universal. You want something you can plug and play however, whenever. But honestly, to me, he's like just an athletic, thinner version of Luol Deng coming out of Duke. Really, that's what he looks like to me. He's not gonna be as big as a brutish player as far as putting his shoulder into the defender and getting the separation that way. But he definitely is crafty, and he slide and getting by people. He can lay it up either hand. He already got the ambidextrous game down pat, and he got court vision. So I'm high on him. That's a prospect going forward for anybody. I think he can go anywhere from number 9 all the way to number 28. That's just how much he can vary depending on who brought him in and what they think of his game. So Bilal is somebody everybody should look out for. He'll be in the NBA for quite some time, to me personally, because he has a mentality and a game that is like a chameleon. He'll adapt.
Mm-hmm.
You got it on the next
one. The next one for me was James Nagy The big man, I think he's out of Barcelona, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's Spain guy.
Yeah, Spain. Yeah, okay. So yeah, watched him a little bit. Definitely got some talent there, like 6'10", 220, a little slender, but you know, I mean, honestly, the 3 or 4 options that you really have in this draft, they all are slim. So that's not even an option at this point for this class. But you know, traditionally, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think he would traditionally be a power forward in a lot of other classes, probably. He'll at least be able to slot in at both, but he's gonna be seen as a center in this class because of the type of class this is and the the lack of depth period, pretty much period at the center position right now in the class. So but he's definitely another rim protector, similar to Derek Lively. The production isn't there. The tools are there.
Well, the overseas players a lot of time is you can't really look at the production because they coaches and they systems are different.
Right, it's not
they
based
have
on
like a farm system like AAA and all
right.
that.
It's based on development
Yeah.
versus entertainment. The stats are entertainment.
Yeah.
So and I was gonna say, and the reason why I mentioned this is because if there's anything similar to that in terms of college basketball, Duke is very similar to that model as well in terms of development, team basketball system versus being a stat stuffer. They don't traditionally have a bunch of
It take a down season for them to do that. Like the season Jabari Parker was there, and he didn't really have a lot of people to accompany him.
Right. So traditionally, they're the closest thing to that as well. They might have a Luka come through or guys like that every now and then. They average 15 to 20, 25. But for the most part, traditionally, that's a program that's built around development, systemic play, being systematic players in terms of your skill sets and what type of prospects you are. So there's no coincidence that those two guys are the guys that the Grizzlies are also looking at as well in terms of the guys they've been rumored to be targeted or interested in. And in Lively's case, I'm almost certain that they've actually brought in for a workout. So he's another guy, James Najee, that's another rim protector, rim runner guy. The tools are there, like Lively, but the production isn't necessarily there. But in this case, again, for these type of guys, they're playing positions that production ain't gonna necessarily have to be there anyway at no point in time. And it doesn't mean that they're not highly important guys. So the roles that they're gonna play ultimately in the NBA is something that should even be evaluated based on production anyway, for the most part. If they have the production to play that role, that's great, but they ain't gonna be at 25 if that's the case, right? So, but yeah, so he's another similar situation to Lively in terms of that slim rim runner protector, big man that they've been looking at. I think he's another target that if he slides, somebody's gonna slide. So hopefully, I ain't trying to wish nobody negative on their career or their paycheck, but hopefully one of the two slide, because I'm pretty sure one of them two slide degrees, I'm almost certain that if they keep him the pick, they're going to take one of them.
All right, so my next guy is a guy that Grizzlies also brought in for a workout, came to my attention, Jalen Slauson. Guy out of Furman, 6'7", 210, basically a physical spitting image of Brandon Clark. Athlete, but he now the difference is he has a positive wingspan, probably better lateral quickness, a better perimeter defender.
Shout out to BC, by the
yeah,
way.
shout out to BC, get better. With Slauson, you getting somebody average a steal and a half, a block and a half. Turned himself into a 39% three-point shooter, and this is what I say about that. Don't look at the three-point shooting alone, right? You have to look at like all the other things that accompany in his game. The guy averaged like 7 rebounds. He built like he consistently got better over all his years at Furman. Like consistently got better. And he also averages over 3 assists a game. And he was playing in the front court. So what that tells me is this is another guy that you can have facilitate through the front court. So I think about you think about teams that have somebody with front court potential to facilitate, that'll have a pick in the latter half of the first round, like the Grizzlies or the Miami Heat, people like that. These are people that already have people that can facilitate in the front court. Like we got Steven Adams. Miami Heat has Bam. They have Kevin Love. These are good passing big men. That's a very good trait to have and to see. The guy finishes above the rim. He's a pretty good player. He's gotten better. The only thing that they're gonna knock him for is that he's 23, about to be 24. But with the Grizzlies, they obviously do not mind drafting people that are 22 and above. A lot of teams, they stay away from that, but the Grizzlies don't mind it. And I'm pretty sure other GMs are about to latch on to that. But that guy, I think he's going to be a solid NBA player. Might not ever be a starter in his life unless it's like situational starting minutes. But I like the guy. You know what I'm saying? I like people that are willing to be a star in their role. I think in this draft, a lot of people when they think about drafts, they're thinking about home run potential, or grand slam potential, even with Victor and Scoot. I think about drafts in the term of people that's willing to be a star in their role as a role player. And I think this draft has a lot of that coming down the pipeline. I really do. I think he has the potential to be one of those people because something that assists him is that he's a really good above average athlete, both laterally and vertically. And ask anybody that ever talk hoops to me, I'm big on lateral movement. Like if you can move laterally, you already sold up half of defense in the NBA. You really have. Lateral movement is 50% of the job on defense. After that, you come into the other attributes and IQ and all that. But if you look at the Draymonds, you look at the Marcus Smarts, you look at Jaren Jackson, if you look at how they slide their feet laterally, if it's seamless like that transition coming off screens, where they can just pick up whoever laterally, they're usually going to be in good shape. And this guy is one of those prospects. You got it?
Definitely G.G. Jackson is the third option for me. I've heard somebody recently say G.G. ain't going to be there at 25. It's very possible, considering his talent. 6'8", 6'9" guy, freshman out of South Carolina. Gamecocks. So he played in SEC competition. So make sure y'all remember that first. Youngest prospect in the draft. He's the youngest prospect in the entire draft. So that's one thing. He's only 18. He'll probably maybe be turned just if he turns 19 by the start of the season. Man, as far as his game, personality-wise, some people compare him to Dylan Brooks because he's very feisty, spicy.
Take a drink to this.
Yeah, exactly. He's definitely as far as Gigi's shot making concerned, he's definitely a face-up shot maker, tweener, forward. So his position necessarily at the forward is not really established yet. He's a tweener, but the good thing is his style of play is more like a wing anyway. So, but offensively he's a wing. Defensively, he's probably a 4 right now. Because laterally, I've noticed he has the ability to stay in front of guys and play on the perimeter and stuff, but there's still need to be some development there in terms of just working on his lateral movement defensively, technique and things of that nature. But when you draft GG, you may be drafting him for defensive potential because he definitely is proving himself to be a pretty decent shot blocker. So he'll definitely protect the rim. He'll chase down and help. He's actually pretty good with that. And he's one of those guys where he's confident, man. He a bucket getter. Like he's a shot creator, a bucket getter. At 18, he was the alpha on that team. And he's the youngest prospect in this draft. So that says a lot about him taking on that spirit and that role in terms of leadership on your team at 18 years old. So I like that about him in terms of him coming on to this team and already having his mindset on what he's trying to get to. He plays like an ambitious player, and he has the talent. So it's a little different between him and Dylan Brooks. The athleticism is there. The length is there. He's a good 6'8". As far as 6'8", maybe 6'9", I know he's at least 6'8" without shoes. That's great in terms of the type of style he'll play anyway. The wingspan is there. I don't know exactly what he measured in terms of wingspan yet, but he's definitely a long guy, young, so there's a chance for him to grow even more possibly. Definitely an on-ball guy potentially, and he'll pull up in traffic. As a tweener forward, he'll get that rebound, push it up court, create the space that he needs to pull up in traffic, get three, and hit it in your face. He's done that all season. Now the efficiency he struggled with, I'm definitely gonna have to put that out there. He wasn't efficient. He only shot like 38, 39% from the field, but he was on a really kind of a shabby team, if we're being honest. So everybody knew Gigi was coming to do his thing. But that's not to say he was a selfish player. It was just clearly that team, at certain points in the season, they started focusing on developing guys like Gigi. So, but he shot like 33% from three, if I'm not mistaken. I know he shot over 30% for sure. So he's not too bad off in terms of three-point shooting. But the rebounding wasn't bad. It was decent. He's going to have to improve on that in terms of his rebounding activity. He's going to have to learn how to really produce outside of being a scorer and a help defender. So the rebound and the activity, and then just learning to develop. Like, he has the potential to actually be a pretty good playmaker, but he's going to have to develop the instincts more in terms of getting guys the ball and making the right plays and decisions that really develop winning basketball. So
he's 18, so he got time to do that. My last prospect is a guy at Ohio State by the name of Bryce Sensabaugh. Watching him play, dude, 6'6", about 235, but he's still athletic with it. So you just think, if you're old enough, think Bonzi Wells, they can dunk on somebody. That's what I see with him. The guy averaged 16 points a game. People like, that ain't a lot. Well, it's a nice amount of points in college for a freshman, but keep this in mind. He played 33 games. He only started 21. So he had 12 games. He didn't even start. So he had to catch up with those points. He averaged 5.5 rebounds a game. Okay, if your team, because a lot of teams got this problem in the NBA right now, they got bigs that ain't good rebounders. So you're going to need somebody at the 2 or the 3, or can play either wing position, that can rebound. And the Grizzlies definitely have that issue. Let's be realistic, especially without Steven Adams in the game. So yeah, you need somebody that can bring in with some size that can move people out the way. This kid is a go-to bucket getter at a high clip. Shot 40% from three. Again, everybody talk about that 40% mark, right? This is the mark people leave out. This is how you know somebody can hit that three. He shoots 83% from the free throw line. Okay, as a young freshman, shooting 83% from free throw and 40% from three, what that tells me is he looking both ways before he crossed the shot. Okay, that's what you do. You look both ways before you cross the street. He looked both ways before he crossed the shot, meaning he works on concentration. He has his down to a science. You're not going to see a different shooting motion from this young man. He got the pull-up game, and he can finish in the paint through contact with relative ease. So this is a 3-level score coming out of the Big Ten. Conference is really not known for scores. They known for, solid basketball players, so to speak, but not really known for people that's going to be microwaves.
I'm going to be honest with you. That's a pretty damn good stat line. 16, even as a senior, that's pretty solid. 16, 5, and 2, or whatever.
Well, he averaged 1 assist. Okay, this is the knock on. He averaged 1.2 assists per game and 2 full turnovers. Well, remember this. He came into the team as a freshman and became the go-to man. So he didn't have a chemistry with these people already, and he was never used to being the facilitator of an offense anyway. Right. So if he comes into the NBA, he'll be a lower first round to mid first round draft pick, meaning he's not going to have the ball in his hands as the primary guy anyway. He's not the franchise guy. So you're giving him the ball when the shot clock breaks down, when he has a physical advantage over whoever's guarding him, because he's 6'6", 235, and it's a very good chance whoever's guarding him is not 235 pounds. And if they are, they're not going to be able to keep up with him physically, athletically.
Because he can get up there.
His vertical He got a nice, he got a nice jumping ability. He can dunk on people. His lateral quickness, it ain't the best, but so what? If you got a team that can, again, if you got a Bam or you got a Jaren or you got a Miles Turner, you got somebody that's going to deter people at the rim anyway. So what you need for him to do is simply get in front of people with his chest and stand them up straight. So when they come at that shot blocker, they don't have a full head of steam. They coming at them off balance. They not coming to dunk. They coming to try to finish. You basically want them to run into the shot blocker and not be able to jump into their chest. That's what you want them to do. You want them to have to try to do something, or dipsy do or something to get the ball away so they can reach them long arms out and block the shot. Another thing about Bryce Sensabaugh I like is he had no problem with stepping up when his number was called. So what this tells me this is a player that can not only star in his role, but he has star potential. Not superstar, not even all-star, but he's a star in the sense where he can go get you plenty of buckets. I don't know if Jamal Crawford ever made an all-star team or first team NBA second or third, but I know Jamal Crawford, when people saw him come out there after the layup line, they knew they had to go hold this guy. He gonna kick your ass. Anthony Simons is a lot like that now. You got guys in the NBA like that. Now he has a lot of size over the Hardy guy that went to Dallas. He has size over Anthony Simons, so he's a bigger player. He can help a team like the Grizzlies because Dylan Brooks just left. You get this guy in.
We don't know that yet.
I think it's bon voyage for him, but I don't think he come back. So I think you plug him in at the 3 with some minutes as a 6-man minute starter or whatever. I think from an offensive standpoint, he could come in and accompany several teams. He could come in and accompany the Pacers and play next to Halliburton and Mathurin. I think he can go to a lot of teams has got to pick within that range, and I think he can get things done for you. So that's my third prospect, and that's somebody I'm actually hoping the Grizzlies. We didn't move up to draft Tari Eason last year. I think if this kid is in that range, I really do think you move up to draft him. I think that everybody that the Grizz got as a wing, I think he instantly comes in and tears them up in practice.
Absolutely.
I think from a physical standpoint and a skills, he can definitely do it. He gives you Zaire has the long wingspan and he has the athleticism, but we've never seen him be an effective go-to scorer in his career. We've seen Sensabaugh do that, and they both had a freshman year to prove that. And Zaire had problems. I get that. LaRavia was never the guy at Wake Forest. That was Alondas. All the young guys we got.
Man, I told people about. I'm amazed. I'm sorry that the fact that you mentioned him just validates. That you really want to know this game. You watch this game. You don't just know the game, but you actually watch the game because there's a difference too. Alondas Williams was the star of their Wake Forest team.
Yeah.
It was a joke. Like I used to watch their team, and I used to be like, "What is going on?" Alondas Williams is the one averaging like 18 a game, 8 assists, 5-6 rebounds. He was literally James Harden for them. Like it was like, what is going? Like I don't understand this. Like
because
and he's not even in the league right now, which I get it. I don't get it. Honestly, I don't get it. But the book's not finalized on him yet. I think there's a tragedy that he went undrafted, let alone is not in the league right now. It's crazy.
We're gonna deviate a little bit from the topic. We're gonna add a little topic here. Okay. The NBA has grown an obsession with measurables and 3-point percentages with nothing else to bag. And that's why
the only thing he couldn't do was shoot.
That's why I mentioned the free throw thing, right? We're seeing people like Desmond Bain break that mold. We're seeing cats like Robert Williams III come in and do what he's doing. He can't shoot no type of jump shot. But when they put him in the game, he is a difference maker for the Celtics, as we see, because they need somebody to deal with Bam. The game it's gotten too heavy on the GM stuff and some just crazy stuff that really ain't got nothing to do with basketball. It's just all got to do with the prospect's potential and people oozing and salivating over that. And it's got a little too crazy. So, when I cover a draft, I'm talking about people I actually think can come in. And if they do have those measurables, they still have the intangibles to get what they need to get done after on that court. Because intangibles are very important too. You just can't have a prospect that's long and can jump and then he ain't got none of the intangibles either. So, that's
The intangibles are almost better than the physicals because
yeah.
it's Desmond Bain is a case of the intangibles and skill versus the physical. I'm sorry. 1 second. Can we pause? Is the way to pause? Is it a straight clip? I got a piss like a Russian race.
Man, don't do your thing, man.
1 second, man. 1 second.
We are around the way, man. I'm not gonna edit that, by the way, y'all. I'm keeping this in there. Because that's what we do. This is just us chilling. And obviously he had a few of these before I got over here. So there's that. Obviously, he gotta go use the restroom. But as I was saying, with the Bryce Sensabaugh kid, him taking on the role at such an impactful university like the Ohio State. I actually got their colors on right now. I ain't no Buckeye, I'm from Memphis, so it's blue to the death of me. But the guy is a great prospect. I think he's proven himself in college, and I think he got, he deserves a good shot at being a first-round draft pick. He's rough around the edges a little bit. They probably gonna make him slim down, 7 to 8 pounds, make him tone up a little bit. He a little bit on the stocky side, but I think he pans out. I think you can play him. I think you can, if he comes to Memphis, you can put Bain at the 1 off, with the second unit with him and a Zaire or a LaRavia or whoever else you choose to put right there. And they're going to have to play Kenny Lofton some anyway. So, that's another guy that can stretch the floor because they signed him to a 4-year guaranteed deal at this point. So, they're going to have to play him with, and Adams is coming back. So, I think Sensabaugh fits with any lineup with the Grizz. I think he fits in any lineup with the Pacers. I think he fits in any lineup with pretty much every team that's around those marks. That's gonna have those type of draft picks after number 10. If they have 2 draft picks or whatever after number 10. So I think he can fall within the range of 12 to maybe 24. So I hope the Grizz, if they force to move up to get him, I hope they do. We're gonna go straight into the trade talk. It's a lot of rumors out there. A lot of publications are saying that this person should be traded for these people. We doing, they call it transactional porn, right? In the NBA around this time, everybody is drooling and salivating over who could go where and for what.
Yeah.
So,
shout out to all my trade machines out there, especially all of them in Twitterverse. I think the first, what's the trade, everybody? The McCall Bridges trade, we knew it's not happening. Like I told people that from the jump, man.
Let me say something about that.
Go ahead.
Philadelphia 76ers fans out there watching. When you hear the name McCall Bridges, what goes on in your mind? Because goddamn, y'all could have used him. Keep going.
Man, that's crazy. Ain't my mama work.
Where is Zaire Smith? Okay, I'm done. Yo, go.
Wow. He ain't even in the league. He didn't even make it into his 2nd or 3rd season. He was already gone.
That's how it be.
That's crazy. Man, that's crazy. That's one of the worst. That's the most unspoken flop draft
of recent years.
His recent years was them trading away McCall Bridges after y'all drafted him. And then you end up with Zaire Smith, who was out of the league by his 2nd season. It's crazy.
Obsession with athleticism, like I said, immeasurable.
Yep. No skill. All he could do was run and jump. That was it. You know what I'm saying? He was 6'3", power forward.
Wow, world. Wow, world.
So yeah, it was. I'm trying to think of what the trades were that I've been hearing out there, man. Oh my God, I can't believe that I went blank on them. But yeah, man, it's Caleb Martin. The Grizzlies are talking about trying, not the Grizzlies, but the Twitterverse, Grizzlies Nation on Twitter. Caleb Martin is a solid prospect. That's somebody I would feel more comfortable coming off the bench, maybe. But he probably is ready to start now, so I can't just say that. Because sometimes he can, look at James Posey back in the day, if anybody's old enough to remember that. He was kind of a similar situation where he was, 4th, 5th wheel and then he came to the Grizzlies situation and became like the second option. So he really stepped up in terms of his role when he got into a team where he was able to do a little more. So that might be the case with Caleb Morris. A lot of people been, he's been part of that transactional porn. So a lot of folks been getting off, so to speak, to the Caleb Martin to Memphis theory. You know what I'm saying? So for all y'all busting the hard, I went to the whole Caleb Martin theory.
That was just wow how you just kept going with that. Wow.
Yeah. No pause. Let it linger. I would definitely. I mean, he's one of the options. I wouldn't necessarily say the first option, but if you don't hit on your A, B, C, D, and E option, I would definitely say he'll probably be the E or F option in the equation for the Grizzlies. Who's the guy that you thinking of that you've been hearing about this?
Well, in the trade machine in general, I think with Miami, I'm gonna give you why I think this way about the trade machine. What Miami has done in this playoff run is they've had people step up that because it's a best of 7 scenario, it's not a one and done, you out. Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin have just made themselves tens of millions of dollars. And what that does is it offsets a lot. Like right now, I think the NBA is in a position where a lot of things are getting offset. Meaning the people that are getting hyped up coming in with those measurables and that athleticism, I think it's gonna start to lose value after this year. Because you put those people up against that Miami team and they lost.
To a bunch of undrafted free agents.
You put those people up against those Lakers guys who were either counted out or were never counted in to begin with, and those teams lost. You got a guy like Jordan Poole that got paid like that, and he got outplayed by Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura. He did. You got the Milwaukee Bucks team. I know Giannis was injured, but let's be honest, Miami took some flat out. And Gabe Vincent them had a lot to do with it. And Tyler Hero ain't even playing.
Right.
So they been kicking ass without. They lost the last game to Boston, and Gabe Vincent didn't even play. Now, they got blown out, so they probably would have lost anyway. But it might not have been so lopsided if Kyle Lowry could have provided what he did off the bench. And you got to remember, Kyle Lowry is another guy. Was he drafted high?
Bottom of the first round.
Yeah, but so again, a lot of the guys that's contributing right now, Jimmy Butler out of Marquette, like they basically got a team full of guys that nobody was looking for like that. Nobody was checking for. And that's why I'm starting to look at the draft the way I am. Because these guys is hungry, they just want it.
I don't think Bam was drafted high. I don't think Bam went out of Kentucky.
But as far as the trade machine, man, you got several guys around the league. TJ Warren still showed he got something in the tank a little bit to score off the bench. You got several teams that's got like Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann looks pretty valuable right now.
Too inconsistent.
He might be too inconsistent, but if Jordan Poole get 140 to be as inconsistent as he is, you can give Terrence Mann 60. I pay him 60 before I give Poole 140. I would.
I will be honest with you. I'd rather pay Dylan 2 for 30 than to pay either one of them.
Man, listen, there's only one Dylan Brooks. You can't put him on every team, fam. Dylan, this your number one fan, bro.
Bring back DB, man, for 2 for 30, man, or 3 for 45 with between team option on the third, rather than pay this man Terrence, man, $60 million when you couldn't even beat out Reggie Jackson and Russell Westbrook for me. Man, I'm straight on it. Man scored 40 in the playoffs, they one game, came back the next game, stole 9 points. I don't want no parts of it.
He don't want no parts of it. Some other guys I observed, it's a backup big at Toronto. He's a center. I forgot his name. He had like a good game against us. That's
Chris Boucher?
Yeah, that's him.
I've always liked Chris Boucher. He's 30. I know he just turned 30 now.
And that's a guy you come and bring in off your bench. Like when I
get Chris Boucher off the bench, and he's actually, if you can get him motivated, my fault. I forgot when Chris Boucher played college ball at, and it was crazy that he even went. He was out of the league for a little while because he was like supposed to be a lottery pick as far as the talent. But Chris Boucher had a season, I think, last year or a year before where he averaged like 13 and 6.5 and 2 blocks off the bench.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Like
when I look for trade machines, like I'm thinking about guys that can actually come in and contribute, not guys that you're trying to make a cornerstone.
Right.
I don't believe that you trade for cornerstones unless you have a situation like the Celtics had in getting KG and getting Ray Allen and adding them to two people you didn't have to trade, which was Rondo and KG, and you end up, Rondo and Paul Pierce, and you end up having to get rid of Al Jefferson, who Big Al was a walking double-double. But let's be honest, he was no KG and he was no Ray Allen, effectively. So for me, all trade machines, they have to make sense. Now, Portland Trailblazers, that's a trade machine. I'm gonna be honest. It makes all the sense in the world for them to trade Anthony Simons right now in that pick.
Yeah, that's the trade. Did you see that online? It was a trade.
It involved us, but I would never do it.
It was okay. So this was
it was Kennard and Tyus involved from the Memphis side. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Why? I'm glad you said let's do that. Why?
I wouldn't do it. Because with Anthony Simons,
because everybody else was saying this too, so I'm glad he's speaking for consistency on Twitter too.
For me, from a business standpoint, right? This is how I deal with assets. Okay, for Tyus, I get it because you don't need a pure point guard to back up John Morant. I would prefer a combo guard, so that makes sense. What I'm not into is adding on the percent, even though he don't take a lot of threes. When he does, they hit. And he can facilitate.
Do you not know where he shoots for three?
No, I'm talking about Kennard. I'm saying I'm not into trading two pieces that can contribute.
So what is about Kennard?
I would give up. This is what I would do. I would give up Tyus and a conditional status on the Golden State pick next year.
Nobody gonna do that though.
Well,
I don't want that. So let me ask you this. So if Kennard is the guy they want to make this deal happen, why would you?
I would do it straight up then. I would do straight up Kennard and that conditional first round pick. In other words, I'm not giving up two people.
Oh, okay, I got you.
For my answer,
you ain't hung up on Kennard.
No, I'm not hung up on either one of them like that.
Okay.
My issue. That's what they do. They fuck us with no lubrication on all of their trade scenarios. I'm not into that. Like when I saw that, I was like, hold up. So we just get fuck it. Because
so there's probably somebody involved with the thinking of their other team to put out there.
They always go outside the trade.
They're trying to set that bar for what they want.
Man, them folks
what we want off the top.
Listen,
y'all already know.
They had us giving up Bane and Jaren and multiple firsts and somebody else for Kevin Durant.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked at Kevin Durant this year in the playoffs and I said, why the fuck would y'all want that?
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
That shit fucked me the fuck up. I'm sorry, y'all, for the language.
For him still, right?
Okay, and some picks, but I wouldn't give up both of them.
I wouldn't give up Jaren, period.
Yeah, it's like when people involve the Memphis Grizzlies in trades, after us, fuck y'all for doing it. It's disrespectful. Y'all been doing it for years. Look, Wallace ain't here no more.
But what it is that's saying, we don't have people to play that game with them like the other teams.
Well, we here playing that game now.
Right.
Everybody is telling y'all, fuck off. We ain't going for that hot boy weak ass shit y'all trying to pull. Y'all not finna shaft us no more. Listen.
If they say fuck you, it's fuck you and feed your dog food.
Jerry West is not here to give you Pau Gasol for his overweight chubby brother.
I ain't gonna lie, that ended up being
it was great, but let's be honest. At the moment they made that trade, it looked remedial.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my whole point. We don't got a crystal ball for situations like that. Even though they had the same bloodline, there's no crystal ball because when he played high school ball here in Memphis, people was giving John the business. Let's be realistic. So, with that being said, people try to screw the Grizzlies. So my whole thing is, listen, I'm not attached, even though I like what he's done, Tyus Jones, not attached. And the idea of Kennard is somewhat better than having Kennard in a lot of circumstances. But to give them both of them, when you can get assets for both of them separately, that's crazy to me. Especially from a Portland team. That Portland, whatever trades they do, rest assured they have to involve a third party.
I want to say this too. Kennard averages. Now people gonna say the minutes are different, all right? So cool. at the same career-wise, they average the same amount of minutes. Now, their roles have been totally different, so you can't really even compare that necessarily, because even though they average the same amount of minutes, they play totally different types of roles in those minutes. But there's a reason for that, because actually Kennard's gifts are very similar to Simon's. They're very similar in terms of their natural gifts and what they bring to the team. Playmaking shot creators. That's what they are. They're naturally both and spotter, or I would call him a play sharp. He's a play sharp. Kennard is. Simons is more of a play shot. So there's a slight variance, but they still do have similarities. Anthony Simons averaged 21, 6, and 4. And he shot 39, almost 40% from 3. I think it was either .387, 387, or I think it was 39, something like that. So he averaged 39% from 3 on 9 attempts per game. This is the thing people don't get. That I want this to be a clip. I want people to come in. I want the smoke. People say, well, Luke Kennard averaged 45, 50% from 3, yada, yada, yada. He been doing it 3 straight years. Guess what? He don't shoot them enough, though. That's the reason why he averaged that much. Guess what? If your ass shoot 9 threes a game like Anthony Simons did when he got the opportunity to play, guess what? You ain't going to shoot 50% from 3. That's a reality. So guess what? If you shoot 45 to 50% and your name ain't Steph Curry, 10 times out of 10, you ain't doing shit. You ain't productive. If you averaging 50% from 3, your ass ain't averaging shit in terms of points per game. You ain't productive. 10 times out of 10, you a hesitant player who cherry picks your 3-point shots. You're a hell of a shooter. Nobody can question that. You probably are the best shooter in the league, but you're not the greatest shooter. And you might be the best shooter or the most talented shooter in terms of efficiency. But in reality, it's really just because the reason why when it all boils down, it boils down to production. So I'm looking at your production, and if you shoot 50%, you ain't productive. Let's just keep it real. If you shoot 45%, you ain't productive.
What I just stopped and looked at was his contract, right? I didn't know he read up from his rookie contract.
Who Anthony Simons?
Yeah, so he getting 25 a year, 4 years, 100. So I changed it. You would have to give them both because they both make around 15 a pop. So that's 30. So you would have to get them both up to acquire him just for the contract, just to make it match. So that makes, that's what would happen. I don't know if Simons is the guy I'm doing it for. I am. And I would say I'd rather get the $30 million guy than the $25 million.
If Simons, but this the thing, Simons is this 22 years old.
Yeah, he's nice with it.
And he's getting better. He ain't stopped. He ain't hit no ceiling yet. And he was a highly decorated high school player. The problem was he came out early and didn't have no buzz because he played in one of them IME schools.
IMG Academy.
Yeah, IMG Academy. I think that's where he played, at IMG Academy. So he didn't have the buzz he was supposed to have to get drafted.
Well,
so he had college buzz on college resume buzz, but he ended up deciding to say, I'm gonna go play. So he played another year at IMG instead of going to college and just went to the draft. So in terms of Simons, this kid at 22 with the minutes, when the opportunity arose, Luke Kennard had those same chances when he was on a rebuilding team in Detroit.
And didn't do it.
You see what I'm saying? And I'm like, what has at the ceiling of Luke Kennard, even if you started him, what is his ceiling? 16 points, maybe? If we just being real now, and if you disagree and you see this clip and you feel like Luke Kennard's ceiling is above 16 points, get at me on Twitter. At Big Ed Memphis. But what I'm saying, the point, or you can hit the Say 9901 Twitter handle. At the end of the day, His ceiling is 16. Anthony Simons has already exceeded that at 21, 22 years old. He's already averaging 21 points, 6 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists, and he earned the respect of Dame. He wouldn't even have that opportunity. Dame letting him eat. Dame letting him eat. Want to know why? Dame don't just do that, because there's been other dudes that played up under Dame that didn't work out. He really did that with CJ to a degree, but he stopped rocking with CJ because he didn't see it in his eye. He liked Anthony Simons. He see it in his eye. When he talk about trading guys, he don't even really talk about trading. He don't never allude to them trading Anthony Simons. He used to allude to it when CJ was there. So I just want to say, you're looking at a guy, if he's willing to buy in to playing that role with them being third, second, I'm going to be honest with you, I ain't limiting him to no fourth option. Because if you come in, you a bucket getter, you a bucket getter. Because truth be told, outside of Ja, ain't nobody else really solidified themselves to be undeniable, you can't question him, number 2 guy. Nobody has really proven
I'm
they locked themselves in.
Bane before that toe injury at 25.
He was, but there you go. Before the toe injury,
I think
Holloway, before the knee.
I got faith.
We always
okay, but I think it is after toe injury. He's still at 22, so he didn't have no massive.
But he didn't average 22 points. It went down to 22 because he wasn't able to say.
I think that I think Bane pretty much got that.
We got it's to be seen. I think toe is something else.
Other guys in the league that's actually got like trade value. You got Jeremiah Grant. I think he got trade value.
Talking about Jeremy Grant from
Jeremy Grant. In Portland right now. Another guy.
But the only thing about him, he's the second or third option. He's really the second option because he averages more points than Anthony Simons. Yeah. So he's the second option.
I think
he from what I hear, I can't speak for this man, but from what we hear through the pipeline, Pauls, he don't want to play he really wants to be a first option.
Oh, that's never happened.
That's why he left Denver to go be one of Detroit. But when he built his resume up, and he played on the Olympic team, so you gotta keep that in mind. He won the gold medal, but and I'm not saying he should be a first or second, but I'm saying this is what we're hearing. And if you look at his moves when he left Detroit to become be a second option only to Dame. Will he want to be a fourth option in Memphis?
He won't be a fourth.
So where he gonna be?
I think he the third option behind Bane and Ja. I think Memphis has a situation where
y'all get that date. What's your Twitter handle?
It's a D_E_Z_.
Y'all get at him.
Yeah, a bunch of underscores with my name. For me, this is what I think about the Memphis Grizzlies situation going forward. I think that number 2 will be rotational because it's already rotational.
Based on what?
Yeah, it's like you got a guy that if you can play him 1 in, 4 out, meaning 4 people outside in the paint and 1 person in the paint, right? With Adams, let's say it's Adams, Jaren, all. When they did that third quarter against the Lakers, right, and he went crazy. What you see with John Morant is if they can't pack the paint with this guy, that's a 30-point per game score at a 50% clip.
It's my job.
Yeah, he don't even need the threes to be honest. I'm just being realistic.
And I know people say we don't want to burn him out, but it is what it is. That's this type of player he is.
But this is the point. He doesn't need 36, 38 minutes to get you that 30 points. That's my point. He can get you 31 to 32 minutes and get you
32 minutes. Yeah,
so that's interchangeable, that role. You got guys like Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson. You got guys. It's a lot of teams in the NBA where their pecking order is nowhere near solidified.
Can I say this about Cam Johnson? Because a lot of people is on this Cam Johnson way. That's another Twitter guy. A lot of their Twitter spaces is really targeted. For Cam Johnson, Cam can't play the 3 defensively. Laterally, he ain't going to keep up with the average 3. Let's keep it real. All right? So that means Cam has to play the 4 defensively. So that means you can't play him next to Jaren unless you got Jaren playing the 5. Because he got to play the 4.
We know Jaren can't play the 5. So,
but that's what I'm saying, though. And my point is to that, to all your Cam Johnson people who are Cam Johnson fans, get Cam, because I like Cam too. Offensively, he can play the three. But defensively and in the NBA, you are what you can defend. And in today's league, he cannot defend a starting small forward on the average. In a wings league, and the wings getting buckets like they are right now, that's putting them in a terrible situation. So you got to play him at the 4. So that means you play him at the 4, you got to play him next to he's Jared. If he played with Jared, Jared got to play the 5. So that means Jared can't play with him. That was my point. Because if you play him with Jared, Jared got to play the 5. And you don't want Jared, or Jared don't really want to play the 5.
Yeah, you don't want the contact.
So that's what you got to keep in mind when you talk about Cam Johnson, folks.
Yeah, it's several people that the Grizzlies and other teams can target. It's several people out there that's available. What's his name? The guy from Indiana, Duarte. They're
Chris Duarte.
Duarte. Okay, the Indiana Pacers are drafting a wing. They are. There's no doubt. They're gonna draft somebody to pair with Matthew.
They got him though. They done drafted they got like 3 or 4 wings.
No.
They got Aaron Nesmith.
They trust me. It's gonna be Mathurin, because they got the 7th pick. It's gonna be Mathurin and one of them big names out this draft. This guy's an athletic explosion like he.
You don't think they get a power forward?
No.
They need a 4 man.
They not gonna do it. They already re-signed Miles. They not doing. They finna
Miles
go
to 5.
That's what I'm saying. They finna go Miles at the 5, and everybody else is gonna be from the wing. It's gonna be interchanged from the 2.
They're gonna play with a tweener.
Because Miles Turner is one of the best shot blockers and defensive people in the paint.
Wow.
So, and he can rebound, so they don't need that. I know that they're gonna partner dude with Mathurin. I got a good feeling about that, because Tyrese Halliburton is pretty much the best floor general in the NBA, hands down at this point. Wow. Chris Paul is over the hill; it's over with. Wow. So one of those guys is available for another team. Now Duarte is the better player than Naismith. He is.
Oh yeah. So Duarte just don't play defense. That's his only problem.
Duarte, hey, listen.
But he's you know what he is? He's new Evan Fournier. He's Evan Fournier when he was younger.
And he's more athletic.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but he's gonna have to get better defense.
With a starting front court of Adams and Jaren on paper right now, you can make the 3 people, like the small forward, the shooting guard, and the point guard. They don't have to be the best defenders, man. They don't, because if Adams is playing next to Jaren, we saw what they did to Giannis though. Giannis couldn't even get a shot up without being off balance. Let's be real about that. He couldn't breathe, because as soon as he felt that Steven Adams contact, he's talked about it.
Body there, and then Jaren coming with the shot.
And you saw what they did to Embiid when they played together. It was a block at the end of the game. Like, it's both of them to get when Jaren is paired with Adams. Adams absorbs the physical contact, and Jaren Jackson cleans you up. Let's be real. And that's why I named the prospects I did, because you do not need the most stellar defender to be out there with John Bain if both of them are playing. And with Lofton, I'm going to be honest, at that point, you just go get a big that can play defense with Lofton. But if Santi is at the buffet this summer, you don't have to go get the big. If Santi is at the buffet and in the weight room, you don't need to go get a big. You don't.
When you said Santi, we need to send you the big bills, man. Go holler at big bills.
Yeah, go holler at somebody. Get you
barbecue, man. Go get you some pulled pork, man.
25 pounds.
Bologna. Get you some barbecue bologna combos, man. The barbecue bologna combo with the coleslaw on it and the sauce. And man, get you some seasoned fries and get you some of that Kool-Aid, man, with no ice on it. Man.
Listen, you can go to
light ice.
You can go to M1E barbecue joints. I don't care which one.
Tops.
You're gonna get you some pounds on you, Pains, whatever.
Pains.
Yeah, Santi. Listen, to Grizz Nation, and I've been speaking in general about the draft and free agency and trading, right? But to Grizz Nation, Santi Aldama, with 25 pounds and a couple more pounds on his bench press, he solves your problem going forward. He truly does. The only thing stopping him he's already aggressive, but you can tell he was just a little too light.
Do you think does it slow him down laterally?
I don't care if it do, because he got the IQ. He got a high acumen.
Absolutely.
Listen, I preach high IQ. Steven Adams ain't the quickest person on earth, and he ain't the quickest person laterally. But he's able to cut off Giannis. Who else doing that? Like, listen, you take the high IQ guy with the medium to slightly above average athleticism.
And that's what's getting ready to supersede draft evaluations is IQ and intangibles and skill. Going back to what you was talking about earlier.
And we're gonna bring this to a culmination, y'all. We got an announcement to make. I'm gonna let Ed make.
We gotta do
we're gonna do that last.
Okay,
that's last.
Yeah. So man, great announcement, man. So we're gonna be doing draft day coverage on the spot over there at Hooters downtown. We're looking like we just met with them yesterday. Shout out to Taurus over there at Hooters on Popular downtown, right over there, right across from the FedEx Forum.
I don't think that's Popular. I think that's what is it, second or third?
Nah, it's a Popular on there. It's
like, for real?
Yeah, it intersects right there.
Okay.
You right. It intersects right there. I think in front, not front.
So it's second or third, one of them.
But it's on
downtown.
It's like 2250 Popular or something like that. 250 Popular, something like that. But yeah, it's definitely I didn't think it was on because it didn't feel like it, but on the address it does say Popular. Though.
Really?
Yeah, that's crazy. No, right? But yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's make sure we get that right. But downtown Hooters, there's only one downtown. It's in the Peabody Place, right? It's in the Peabody building.
No, it's 250 Peabody Place, Suite 101.
Okay, right, exactly. So it's Peabody Place Suite. Okay. Otherwise, I thought they said that was on Popular though. Yeah. So I'm glad you corrected me on that. Appreciate that. Definitely, that's definitely something. I'm glad you corrected. So yeah, that's where the address is. What was it again?
250 Peabody Place.
250 Peabody Place. Right there at that corner. So it's right there. So man, yeah, that's where we're gonna be at for draft night. Man, we want all the Grizz Nation to come out, man. Looking like yeah. So we definitely on board with that. Man, it's definitely gonna be live. It's gonna be lit. I had to reclip this, man. I don't know why I'm having a brain.
No, we ain't gonna reclip it. We gonna roll with it. Listen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and also my guy, also who's gonna be joining us, and we doing this all. We gonna. It looks like we're gonna all collab and bring this thing in together. Make sure we all make this the best, meet and greet show up as possible. Looks like EJ Casamigos from Grindhouse Spaces is gonna be joining us. We wrapped up again briefly about it yesterday, and hopefully young Harry will be joining us as well. We've spoken about it, so look like that's a possibility. Somehow, some way, we're gonna work that out too. So yeah, man, it's this thing where we all gonna get together and make this just make this a memorable experience on this particular draft night. We ain't got the best pick, so at least we can do is make it the best experience for the night.
And this is what I want to speak to it. Look, I see people on Grizz Twitter complaining all the time, talking about our presence. But we trying to make a presence, right?
Man,
that's what we trying to do.
Speak.
So this is what we putting together. This is what's out there. You know what I'm saying? Hey, any biases, anything you got against somebody else, swallow it. And I mean it. Like take that in the corner.
Or no, we bring that and make some content out of it. Let's have a discussion. It can't be personal, right? It got to be something basketball related for us to even be having a conversation, hopefully. Yeah. So if it is sports, whatever related, hey, let's have a respectable conversation. We can make some content out of it.
Yeah, we can drink something while we're there.
We can prove that we can have a respectable discussion of why we feel like we both feel like we scumbags to each other. Let's figure out how we can do that.
We can be civilly in agreement. We can be civilly in agreement, people. Yeah, so that's what we're doing, man. We trying to make Grizz Nation have more of a presence. And we trying to do it in an organic fashion, man, where we all can enjoy it and we can all shine together, man, because that's what it's about, right? We come together based off this team that we love in the geographical location that gives us something to do 82 times a year guaranteed. And with the talent we got, hopefully at least 16 more times after that. That's 98 games. So that's what we going for, man. We just going for something we love, 82 and another 16, man. That's what we reaching for.
We look at it like this, man. Just like Dylan Brooks, man. Somebody gonna shoot. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gotta have the Dylan Brooks mentality. Somebody gotta shoot the shot.
I personally am running away from any Dylan Brooks, anything on planet Earth. But my guy Ed here is running into the flames with the fire department behind him. So with that said, man, we're gonna get into the gear and then we out of here. He told me to go get the hat, so I'm gonna go get the hat.
Man, how you shoot the whole episode out there?
Yo, this the hat right here.
Yo,
City of Memphis. I had his gear on before. Rough Feathers. That's my guy, Antonio. Y'all look up Rough Feathers online. Guy? Yeah, he got some hot stuff. Wow, I told you, he hot. That's what I got on. And the kicks, I got on the foam posit. I got on the metallic reds. They ain't so metallic as much no more, but this what I'm rocking. I rock Penny all day. You can see the 1 cent more. That's my guy. That's who I roll with.
Yeah. I gotta figure out your phone plug here, man. Cause we gotta talk after this here. Man. Yeah, man. I just decided to switch it up, man. It's still sports related. Cause hey, man. So we going Versace Sports. We did Versace Jeans Couture, man. So we, you know what I'm saying. I just decided to hit y'all with the garland baracos, so she can check that out, man.
Man's be speaking Italian.
Yeah, man. Yeah, garland baraco. Yeah, man. It's definitely Saks Fifth, man. Definitely hooked me up with this one, man. I was able to actually get it on sale, so it was a good deal, huh?
Even the luxury's on sale nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. So, hey, man, say, man, this is Dez and Ed.
It's Ed.
Hey, man, we signing out till next time, man. I hope y'all enjoy episode 4 and the clips that come with it, man. Don't forget to follow at Say Main 901 on Twitter.
And follow at Big Ed Memphis. You know what I'm saying? Or you can just type in Rapid as Ed Memphis. But the Twitter handle is officially at Big Ed Memphis. And then, of course, you can follow the homie at
Dez D_E_Z_Z_.
No, you might have to,
it's a lot of stuff, man. Listen, you're gonna see me talking crazy on Twitter, so you're gonna see me.
Dez always got this shit, got stuff encrypted in it.
Yeah,
covert. You gotta have an encryption to get him to go find his Twitter handle.
Indeed, you do, man. Because I don't want y'all easily getting me alone and saying crazy shit to me in my inbox like some people do from time to time. So again, man, we signing out, man, and y'all have a beautiful day.
Don't play all damn day.